Caitlin Clark is redefining the game of basketball. Her electrifying performances and fearless approach to competition have not only captivated fans and analysts, but also drawn the attention of NBA icons who typically remain silent on the WNBA. Never before has a single player ignited such a combination of admiration and debate among the sport's greatest figures. From smashing records to changing the way the game is played, Clark is inspiring a whole new generation of athletes. And when you take into stock the fact that outside of Kevin Durant, Asian superstar, LeBron James, 40 years old, and Steph Curry, there's not a single NBA player more popular today than Caitlin Clark, but her journey hasn't been without obstacles. Doubters have questioned her ability, and critics have tried to downplay her success. However, two of the most legendary names in basketball history, Michael Jordan and Larry Bird, have stepped forward to share their thoughts on Clark. What they had to say, it could change the way people view her forever. With all the conversations surrounding Caitlin Clark, none other than Michael Jordan himself has stepped in to share his thoughts. And what he had to say changes everything. The WNBA owes Caitlin a great deal for what she's done for the game, Jordan stated. His words weren't just praise, they were a wake-up call. Jordan didn't stop at acknowledging her impact. He directly called out the officiating in the league, pointing out that the referees have been blatantly unfair to Clark. He stressed that it's time for the WNBA to step up and make things right. His statement carries weight. When the greatest basketball player of all time speaks, people listen. Jordan's comments reinforce that Caitlin isn't just another player. She's a true game changer, one whose influence on the sport demands recognition and, most importantly, respect. Next up, we have none other than Steph Curry, four-time NBA champion, two-time league MVP, and the greatest shooter basketball has ever seen. A long-time admirer of Caitlin Clark's game, Curry has never shied away from praising her skill set, even back when she was lighting up college defenses. Coming from a player who revolutionized the game with his shooting, that's no small compliment. What makes Curry's admiration even more significant is that he and Clark share a rare ability, an almost supernatural shooting range that forces defenders to respect them the moment they cross half-court. But here's where it gets truly mind-blowing. Clark's average three-point attempt comes from an astonishing 28 feet, 1.1 inches. That's farther than the peak shooting distances of Trae Young, Damian Lillard, and even Curry himself. No wonder people joke that you need to start guarding Caitlin Clark the second she steps into the gym. Kevin Durant, a two-time NBA champion and 2014 NBA MVP, has been one of Caitlin Clark's biggest supporters. He's watched her game closely and can't stop raving about what makes her such a special talent. Always had the ball in her hand. Everybody was playing off of her. She just commanded the whole game. I'm like, who the hell is this? She is nice. It's like, oh, she the best player in the country. Durant has broken down why Clark is one of the most dangerous offensive players he's ever seen. From her limitless shooting range to her elite playmaking ability, he sees the makings of a generational superstar. But what stands out most to Durant? Her relentless work ethic. He knows firsthand that greatness isn't just about talent. It's about the hours put in behind the scenes. And in Caitlin Clark, he sees a player who's not only rewriting the record books but redefining what's possible in women's basketball. Allen Iverson, a player who left an indelible mark on the NBA, sees a lot of himself in Caitlin Clark. Just like Iverson redefined the game with his flashy handles and fearless scoring, Clark is doing the same in the WNBA, captivating fans and setting new standards for women's basketball. Both players carried immense pressure from their college days into the pros, with critics questioning whether they could maintain their dominance at the next level. And just like Iverson silenced the doubters, Clark is proving that she belongs among the best. Iverson recently shared his admiration for Clark, breaking down why she's such a rare talent. He highlighted her ability to take over games with her scoring, a quality he himself was famous for. But beyond the points, Iverson recognizes something even more important: Clark's ability to make her teammates better. He knows firsthand that being a superstar isn't just about getting buckets, it's about elevating those around you. Clark, despite being one of the youngest players in the WNBA, during his prime, Iverson carried the Philadelphia 76ers to the NBA Finals with sheer determination and relentless scoring, despite not having a star-studded supporting cast. He sees Clark as someone with that same drive, someone who can will her team to success, no matter the circumstances. But he also understands that for Clark to truly thrive, the Indiana Fever must build the right team around her. Iverson believes Clark's best days are ahead of her, and that as she continues to grow, she'll only get better at leading her team and adjusting to the challenges thrown her way. He's confident that, just like he did, Clark will learn how to take her team to new heights, evolving into the kind of player who can lift a franchise to championship contention. Luka Doncic, perennial MVP candidate and one of the brightest young stars in the NBA, has dubbed Caitlin Clark the women's Steph Curry. And if that wasn't impressive enough, he even admitted that she might be a better shooter than he is. Coming from a player celebrated for his own shooting brilliance, that's about as high a compliment as it gets. Indiana Pacers star Tyrese Halliburton didn't waste any time embracing Caitlin Clark as she arrived in Indiana. From the moment she was drafted, he had nothing but praise for her game, recognizing her as a transformative talent who could elevate the Fever and women's basketball as a whole. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for her to be here. I think it brings a lot of excitement to the city, and, a city with a lot of young talent already as it is, and adding her, she's one of the faces of women's basketball, and for her to be here and under the same roof, I think is really exciting for me, and I think a lot of people in our organization. Halliburton's support isn't just talk. He's been a regular presence at Fever games, often seen sitting courtside, fully invested in the action. His reactions, from cheering big plays to shaking his head in disbelief at Clark's deep three-pointers, show just how much he respects her skill. His excitement isn't just about basketball. It's about what Clark represents for the city of Indianapolis and its passionate sports culture. Clark's arrival has brought new energy to Indiana, and Halliburton has been one of her biggest champions. He understands the significance of having a generational talent in the city, and he's fully on board with the Fever's rise. Whether through social media shoutouts or in-person support, Halliburton has made it clear. He believes in Clark, and he's thrilled to share the stage with another superstar taking Indiana basketball to new heights. Shaquille O'Neal, one of the most dominant forces in basketball history, initially stood among Caitlin Clark's skeptics. His loyalty to LSU, coupled with his close ties to Angel Reese, shaped his early opinions on Clark's game. During the 2023 National Championship, when LSU triumphed over Iowa, Shaq was vocal about his doubts regarding Clark's ability to perform at the highest level. But as Clark continued her meteoric rise, game after game, O'Neal found himself rethinking everything he had said. The deep threes, the elite playmaking, the ability to carry a team night in and night out, it was impossible to ignore. Eventually, the Hall of Famer had to admit the truth. Caitlin Clark was special. In a refreshingly candid moment on Angel Reese's podcast, Shaq didn't shy away from his change of heart. He openly acknowledged how Clark had proven him wrong. That level of recognition from one of the greatest to ever play the sport is no small thing. Shaq's shift from skepticism to admiration speaks volumes about Clark's impact, forcing even her biggest critics to take notice. Charles Barkley, never one to sugarcoat his opinions, has been watching Caitlin Clark's rise with keen interest. While he's always been impressed by her shooting range and playmaking ability, what really stands out to him isn't just the numbers, it's her mindset. Barkley has seen plenty of talented players come and go, but few have handled the pressure, scrutiny, and outright hostility the way Clark has. During a recent interview, Barkley praised Clark's poise, but Barkley didn't stop there. He's also been one of the loudest voices calling out the unfair treatment Clark has received on the court. He's seen the unnecessary physicality, the cheap shots, and the way referees have let things slide, and he's not happy about it. I get it, rookies have to earn respect, Barkley added. But what they're doing to Caitlin ain't about basketball. Coming from a guy who played in one of the toughest, most physical eras of basketball history, that's a strong statement. If even Barkley, who prided himself on being a hard-nosed competitor, believes Clark is being unfairly targeted, there's something going on. Clark isn't just proving she belongs in the WNBA, she's forcing people at all levels of the sport to rethink how they view and treat the game's biggest stars. And with NBA legends like Barkley in her corner, the conversation about fairness, respect, and the future of women's basketball is only getting louder. Kevin Garnett, the fiery Hall of Famer known as the Big Ticket, doesn't hand out compliments lightly. But when it comes to Caitlin Clark, He's making a comparison that has the basketball world buzzing. He's putting her in the same category as Steph Curry. That's right. According to Garnett, Clark isn't just a great shooter. She's a generational talent changing the way the game is played. So, what exactly about Clark has Garnett making this bold statement? It's simple. Her deep shooting range, quick release, and fearless confidence. Just like Curry, Clark isn't waiting for a perfect shot opportunity. She creates her own. The moment she crosses half court, defenders have to stay locked in because she'll pull up from anywhere. It's the kind of offensive firepower that completely shifts defensive strategies. But Garnett didn't just praise Clark's game. He also addressed one of the biggest controversies of the year. Her Olympic snub. On air, Garnett called it out, saying Clark deserved a spot on Team USA. But beyond that, he gave her major respect for how she handled the entire situation. Instead of lashing out, Clark took it in stride and kept her focus on the WNBA. Garnett recognized that kind of maturity and leadership, calling her a true game changer for the future of women's basketball. Paul Pierce, another Celtics legend, couldn't hold back his admiration either. After watching Clark's unforgettable 41-point performance against LSU in the NCAA tournament, Pierce was left in awe. He didn't just call it impressive. He labeled it the greatest performance I've ever seen in the college tournament, male or female. That's coming from a guy who's witnessed decades of March Madness history. Pierce didn't stop there. He also jumped into the Olympic snub debate, backing Garnett's take that Team USA made a mistake leaving Clark off the roster. In his eyes, Clark isn't just a rising star, she's a player who elevates the entire game, drawing in new fans and redefining what's possible in the WNBA. When you have Hall of Famers like Garnett and Pierce openly advocating for you, it's clear you're doing something special. Clark isn't just earning respect from her peers, she's earning admiration from some of the greatest to ever play the game. And with the way she's performing, this is just the beginning. But here's where things take an interesting turn. Not everyone is on the same page as Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. Enter Indiana Pacers legend Reggie Miller, a sharpshooter who knows a thing or two about dealing with physicality and pressure. Unlike Garnett and Pierce, Miller isn't exactly surprised by what Caitlin Clark is going through. In fact, he sees it as part of the process. You're playing at the highest level. You're playing in the WNBA. You're coming from college and you're going to the pro ranks, right? What did she expect was going to happen? Why are people so shocked, right? You're playing against grown women. The same thing happened to us. As rookies, going against MJ, they're out there trying to embarrass you. It's nothing personal. Miller's perspective. This is the pros. There are no free passes. No matter how talented you are, veterans in the league aren't just going to let you waltz in and take over. They're going to challenge you, test your resilience, and make sure you earn every single bit of respect. And that's exactly what's happening to Clark right now. But here's the twist. Miller isn't doubting her. He's watching closely, and what he sees is a player who refuses to back down. Game after game, Clark keeps proving that she belongs. The physical play, the pressure, the heightened competition, none of it is shaking her. Instead, she's adjusting, learning, and getting stronger. And Miller, he's taking notice. He knows what it takes to survive and thrive in a league that doesn't hand out anything for free. And if Caitlin Clark keeps doing what she's doing, it's only a matter of time before even her toughest critics have no choice but to respect her game. And finally, we arrive at the moment everyone has been waiting for. Larry legend himself, Larry Bird. For months, fans and analysts have been comparing Caitlin Clark to Bird, pointing out their shared confidence, winning instinct, and ability to take over games when it matters most. But now, Bird himself is weighing in, and his words carry serious weight. The Hall of Famer revealed that he's been keeping close tabs on Clark's career, admitting that he watches her Iowa games just as much as he follows his own alma mater, Indiana State. That's no small statement coming from a man who revolutionized the game with his skill, swagger, and ability to thrive under pressure. Bird has never been one to throw around praise lightly, so for him to acknowledge Clark's impact in this way is a massive nod of respect. He sees something special in her, a player who isn't just great, but is redefining what's possible in the game of basketball. And when a legend like Larry Bird gives you his stamp of approval, you know you're on the right path. There you have it, folks. NBA legends, Hall of Famers, and MVPs all tipping their hats to Caitlin Clark. But this isn't just about accolades or comparisons. It's about something bigger. Caitlin is redefining the game, breaking barriers, and inspiring the next generation of hoopers. Young boys and girls everywhere are watching her dominate, proving that talent, hard work, and relentless confidence can shatter expectations. A new era in the WNBA is taking shape right before our eyes. We're not just witnessing history, we're a part of it. And the most exciting part, Caitlin Clark is only getting started. The road ahead is filled with endless possibilities, and one thing is for sure, this is just the beginning of something truly legendary.